Hello. Boom. Yo, just in time. Welcome to the show. Woo! I'm your host, 3D Douglas. And, well, here today, I'm hoping to change your perspective. And you'll probably see from the title, we are talking about security. Where is it at? Did we lose it? Did we have it? And I am talking about specifically Telegram, iCloud, and Signal. That's right. We are going to dive into this because first I was asked to look into the security of Telegram, and then because of like some recent discoveries from a security group, but then that led me down to a whole different kind of rabbit hole looking for security itself, and that's what we are looking for. And if you think this is a strange combination to see Telegram, iCloud, and Signal, I mean, yeah, it kind of is weird, but it it is what it is. I guess let's just keep on going. I'm gonna try to pull up the chat as we get into today's episode. So if you go jump over to the YouTube, no matter where you see me at, um, if you jump over to the YouTube, you should be able to join into the chat. It should pop up here after I can eventually get it to load in. Where okay, and let's roll that starter. Oh heck yeah! Now I went ahead and did the starter before the sponsor because, like I said, I am trying to get the the chat loaded up, and I don't want to forget to sponsor completely. That's right. Today we are sponsored by Shield Folio. Go ahead and get your Shield Folio today. Just scan the QR right up there, grab and snap it, because it's going to allow you to put all sorts of different things in there, from your seed phrases to just your passwords where you go to. And if you think about it, this is a really neat way to keep track of pretty much anything and everything that's password related, internet connected, without it being online. That's right. Imagine carrying your entire bookmark section with you on the go. This is actually something you can do with something like this, and because it's made with stone paper, well, it's going to be very durable. Let's just put it that way. Like I say, go ahead and scan the code right there, and we'll go ahead and get you started. I just want to give me one more second. I am okay. Got chat up, and chat. Okay, so YouTube chat is now fully up. And thank you again, Chillfolio, for sponsoring Bitcoin Live Network in general. Okay, so let's get into the thick of it, because we got a different slot today, because this is going to take some time. There's a lot of information to go with here. We're talking about 3 major systems, okay? And with DEF CON just passing, more people are pointing to the lack of security in some security-focused messaging applications. That's a recent, thanks to a recent video by Naomi Brockwell. There are a bunch of people claiming the same exact thing on both sides: privacy-focused messaging applications. So again, it's people say Telegram is stored in open text locally and cloudly, and people also claim that Signal is stored locally, also in open text and locally. So both locally and cloudly stored in open text. So why is iCloud even being mentioned? Well, I guess you'll have to stick around and find out, because we are talking insane scenarios, and it might even make you look at Telegram completely differently after this. Um, I really did not expect to see everything that I saw when I got to this. When I was doing this, this was a lot more here than ever expected. All right, so I'm going to bring in the main screen. Let's see. That one? Yep. Alright, here we go. Oop. I do that like every time. Okay, so let's start here. So as we go throughout this entire process, you're going to see a QR pop up. If you scan the QR, it will actually take you to where we're at. And if we get lucky, either sometime during or after this broadcast, it should appear in the YouTube comments. All the links that we're using today. That's going to be everything except for the pictures that I have to display, so keep that in mind. So this was the very start for me. This is the very first time anyone had brought any of these things into question to my knowledge, so to speak. So this is a post by Mr. Graham de Penrose, and it says that basically the Black Syndicate has done some bench tests and discovered an RCE vulnerability. That is a remote control vulnerability. So that's someone doing executions remotely to control your device. It's remote control executions, and it is one of those ones we've talked about before. It's a lot of times called zero-day, attacks and stuff like that. And specifically, this one was wallet draining. And believe it or not, this is actually a type of an attack, and we'll get into what it's actually called and stuff, because this form of attack where you're looking through a computer's database for wallets, that's a database breaching. So that's the type of attack it truly is, some kind of breach. And that's going to be, I think, a big point to this factor. That is a type of breach. What we're looking at, you can actually call a breach, and if it's done locally on your device, then it's a local breach. And if we look and see exactly what he says, let me zoom in a little bit. He says, let's see, GP's AI News Byte update. Do not use Telegram at all until further notice. The stenography malware payload delivery bypasses all commercial malware and AV suits. That basically saying is the stenography actually can allow malware to bypass the device audit of what you're downloading and the OS audit, and then any commercial antivirus or malware sweeper, it will also bypass all of that. It has been wild for weeks. There is evidence of an activation element, and it can be dormant on your rig waiting for a go. Move your funds now and factory reset. We have run benchmarks tests, and this RCE vulnerability is reminiscent of the Google Docs wallet drainer of 2022. Google broke protocol for the first time it ever issued a single patch fix, and he's talking about that vulnerability. And so let's go to the next one. I do want to apologize. We got a lot running in the background right now. I actually have a couple of programs running and waiting for later. And so we're going to get rid of some of these tabs as we go through them. We have quite a few. So this is actually the Black Angel Syndicate right here. Let me get you their QR before we continue. Because this is, I believe, Godam Tenrose's team, or his it's the one that he was mentioning at least. And I want to try to get this QR on multiple different sizes for you guys. So if we go through here, we can see this is talking about, they talked about Glass Onion and stuff. We were just talking about that like last week or the week before. And so we can see that there's definitely, that they're doing stuff. They're doing stuff. And okay. So here is in simplified, as simplified as it can be. Basically, they did testing and they found a major vulnerability. This is what I believe the vulnerability they found. This is the vulnerability that you can see in like Discord and some other places. This is a very common issue with cloud services. So this is what I call like a cloud service attack, or, to be honest, it is a breach. So as we can see, we have an application server, we have unaudited payload via an application API, and then it goes, let me get my cursor in the right spot. I keep zooming in on my text. So we have an application API tunnel entering our device, allowing whatever to bypass our device directly into the app, which then it's dropped directly into storage. When it's dropped into storage, there is this possibility that the OS or even the application, either through JavaScript, Java, some form of automation, scripts, or HTML, may actually cause this payload to be detected, run, all sorts of different things. And sometimes, just depending on the application and if it gets viewed, um, can actually be a big factor. For example, Windows, for example, almost all Windows uh, operating systems after Windows 7 or 8 will that right spot right there when it drops into storage, Windows will try to view it and it will send it to a server and open it and then drop back details of that opening, and that can actually cause uh, some malicious payloads to then activate as if they're being ran, even though they're not being ran. So this is most likely the vulnerability that is being performed. And this is a very basic API system. This is basically just how apps get stuff from the internet. And when you have an application server working as a cloud, or you have some kind of cloud service, you basically have a way to hide that information. And so, like I said, this is something we see common with cloud-connected applications. And there are some other ones that have been using this, and Discord has been known for this vulnerability, where you can actually have stuff in their cloud get access into your app through auto download and some other situations like that. And again, to be honest, this is a very generic way to view how the attack is most likely being done. So keep in mind, I'm trying to make this as simple as possible for you to understand what could possibly be happening. There's a lot more actually going on. But let's see. So we're pulling data from the internet, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay, hold on a second. Because I kept zooming in, I just now realized I went back up on my script. So, oh my gosh, stop moving. So basically, I don't know. Okay, I got a lot more here. We just have to, I think we're going to go on. Because, let's put it this way, like, we are pulling data from the internet from the application, right? Many applications like Telegram, iCloud, Signal automatically download videos, pictures, files, and GIFs. The scary part about that is autoplay on videos is already used as a cross-server attack vector, and it's a very well-known XSS attack vector for something like 15 years now. The problem is that there's next to no way around that. So autoplay and auto-download are very dangerous nowadays. Telegram and iCloud are connected systems that have features on top of the cloud, like messaging, storage, and files, which is why iCloud is here, because it's basically Telegram, and Telegram is basically iCloud. They are competing with each other, not Telegram and Signal. So this does mean that the application acts like a malicious client or a malicious server or anything like that, and it doesn't even know it's doing it, because, well, there's a chance that if the storage is in open text, like I was saying, it's probably just an SQL database. And if that's true, then, well, it's going to be ready and primed to be opened up through automation. Another generic way to put this is that the cloud is being used to spread malicious payloads thanks to auto download and your public groups and DMs. So someone gives you DM and there's a picture or something, it automatically gets downloaded. You automatically get the payload whether you want it or not. So the payload gets downloaded automatically and placed in an SQL database, most likely, which we're going to check on, and where there's an active file. And if there's an active file, it's being ran. And if another payload or a different application is able to activate it through scripts, it may be automatically deployed. And that app, depending on the API structure of the app, might also have, like, basically it might have given it access to the API because the key and the database are both on the same layer. So it might not always be in plain text, but it might be in open text where the key is right there beside it in plain text on the same layer, so anything that comes in from that layer has access to it. So if it's in the database, it has access to reopen the entire database. So many people view plain text and open text as the same, but believe it or not, open text is considered encrypted. So you can have something in a database with the public key file just in plain text next to it, and that's considered encrypted because the database is technically encrypted. You have to have a key to get in, not just a password. And there are many forms of encoding that are actually more secure than doing what's called open text SQL databasing. And that's because an open text file only needs to have been opened to have its key, then it's right there, just boom, it's in there, it can open it now. it's got access. This means that any encrypted given with a database is muted by having the key locally stored next to it with that, or without a passcode key, or it's just a passcode as a key. And that's open text as encrypted has become a trend. And I blame Android, but both Signal and Telegram on desktop act like badly ported Androids. And that's where a lot of this is going to get. A lot of these secure apps really just feel like they were secure on Android, and then they were ported off of Android or iOS, and now they work exactly the same, but this operating system they're on now doesn't work exactly the same. And so, let's go to the next one. We are ready to go on, because it gets weird. It definitely gets weird. Like I said, I don't have a QR for the picture. It's just a picture I made. Here is the next one. Telegram desktop saves conversations locally in plain text. So this is, I think, one of the ones I kept seeing being cited. And this one was, for some places I was seeing online, being stated as source for what we're talking about. And this is bleepingcomputer.com. And so it says the desktop variant. It's just basically talking about specifically the desktop secure application that fails to protect chat content locally and offers to plain text conversations that otherwise the travel has been encrypted. So I don't know. When you go through here and you read it, it gets weird. Not when I say weird, I mean like it almost seems unreal. So it's basically saying that everything's locally in plain text, but everyone online is saying stored in plain text. And these two statements are not the same, and this is where the confusion really begins, because storing in plain text would just be like a file I open and boom, I read the file. Here the article is what's being claimed back in 2018 is that it's stored in open text. What we see right here, it's being opened in SQL database. It's just in an SQL database. The database might not be encrypted, it might have been open database. But because it's an SQL database, that's considered open text, not plain text. So I also want to point out, in this image, we have a hierarchy of like game container or group container, the actual Telegram code, the account code for that group, the cache information network, a post box, and then the database for that network there, then the media that included with that data, that post box database, and then all the other accounts metadata that included with that post box or that account for that group container, specifically to that coded number 6N3VWS5BX. And you can see this is, if we look at this is actually the Russian version of this whole thing. It's actually the Russian version. And there's a reason behind that too. A big reason why this worked with a Russian version Telegram, and believe it or not, I think I saw somewhere that most likely this was actually a potentially this could have been done on a portable version of Telegram, which is considered back in the day Telegram desktop, but it is not no more. And so it gets difficult because when you go here, it does take you to Telegram desktop, the current, and so it does become confusing to know exactly what's going on. And so we see here. Nathaniel Sushi was able to read the app's database and the messages saved there. The conversation with bleeping computers, such as Telegram's users, is somewhat difficult to read, but otherwise not encrypted. And as you look right up in here, we zoom on in, it actually says, I think I have a picture of this to make it easier. Yep, there we go. So if we look in the picture, it actually says right there, just give an app any permission without thinking about it, entitled. So, and we can see they're just reading a data blob. We look at the top. If we look up there at the very top, we can see the location it's at. He's using a MacBook. So users, the guy's name, library group, container, that same code. We're using the Russian version, the correct account number, the postbox database light, so the main database. And he is now going through And if you look, there is actually a search system in the database to allow him to search the tables to find the blobs he specifically needs. This is something that it's not openly done. You know, you actually got to look through these a little bit, but as you can see, he's looking through it most likely through the most recent. He probably went to the most newest, the biggest number with the T data number, and then went to the blob, and since it's probably the only thing there, he started at the top. Okay, so I do want to point out, again, if we go back and we scroll all the way down, he shows that you can even look at the media, blah, blah, blah. But if you look, this article's from 2018, and in 2018, like a week or two after this article was published, it pointed out this was only for Mac version. Oh, I'm actually in the way, you can't see that. Dang! This is only for Mac version. This is not for all desktops. This is only for Mac. You're going to see that as a trend, okay? That's going to be an ongoing trend. Let's just say that now. And let's go on. So here is actual info on T-data file type. And this is how files are stored with Telegram. This is going to be all the information. So we look here. Here's the raw data bit. So we're in how it's set up. Basically how you go through the functions for reading them. How to get the data from them. We can also look at a decrypted version of it. So let's jump over to that real fast. And if we go through this decrypted version, we can actually look and see the key codes. We can actually see what all these numbers mean when we're going through the hash files, or the hex files. So we can find exact spots we want to go to. Now we can see like what those actually mean. So we actually seen in loosely a hierarchy being brought in front of us. Now here's the actual map hierarchy. And if we look through here very quickly, we won't see any of the hierarchy we were seeing earlier. But if we go back to what we were seeing earlier, the hierarchy we were seeing was definitely some form of server hierarchy. That's like a working file. And so I would actually blame a little bit of, there's a chance Nathaniel didn't think about how a Mac runs applications on the MacBook back in 2016. That's kind of important, and we'll get to that soon. Because the scary part is Nathaniel was actually able to do this, or someone was able to do this also on for Signal. And you know what? I think I just realized I did not give you links to the T-Go data. So the T-data information. Okay, so here is how you read the raw T-data. Okay, here's that QR. Here is the hierarchy, the build, and it really does give you a bunch of information. And here, there's more here than what we were actually looking at. So it really is a full decoding of it. Now we're back here. Signal upgrade process leaves unencrypted messages on disk. Now this is kind of important because this is going through like the Chrome extension to Signal desktop. So this is going from old desktop to new desktop. Because at one time Signal desktop I don't think was a thing. I think it was originally like an app, like a Android app or web app. And we can actually see the main directory, the container files for Signal contact available are here, all the information. Conversation is stored in JSON files inside each folder. Suchi found on, and they spelled his name different this time. Found an issue on macOS. And again, this is all comes down to Mac. Now this upgrade originally did actually affect everything. And this was in 2018 now, so a couple years later. And we can see in 2017, the new version of the app gets rid of the Chrome shackles, but going up to it would basically expose all your data. You just left everything unencrypted. It would left it basically the same formatting as it was before, and that's kind of an important point. It just kind of they just leave it however that was working previously. I'm going to drop out some of these T data files so we can get a little bit more going. All right, we got to keep moving because at the moment, all I'm showing you is raw information. I'm showing you how I know that we're looking at server information, kind of giving you hints for what we're talking about in reality. Because if this was something that I could just like easy as flipping a light switch and show you what's up, we'd be doing that. But instead, we got to figure out why all this is going on. Because obviously, if like something like Signal or Telegram was unencrypted, you would just search that and pop up with something. Oh, actually, that's exactly what happened, and it's a bug report on GitHub. All exported data, messages, and attachments, or well, attachments were never really encrypted, really, non-encrypted on disk during and after upgrade process. So this is exactly what they were talking about. October of 2018. Opened by M Sushi. Again, spilt differently. There they are. Here's same pictures. And if we go through here, these people are arguing over if this means that it's unencrypted or not. And there are people, we got other people saying, hey, Signal's task, blah, 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 is not encrypted on disk. It's probably a good idea to notify users. That's stored in plain text, but it's actually on open text. And there was an announcement that they were going to lock down more information OS level, again, for Android. And we see it was closed. But it's still, but it, like, they say closed, but is it really, right? So, in Sushi, so we can see this is the person, co-founder of cybersecurity, blah, 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 blah. We can see they got quite a bit in their pocket for, like, movability power. They got, obviously, they've been in the security space for a while. They know what's up. Cool. Let me give you that link. Because this one won't appear. I just randomly picked on this one. Because we see they're in DEF CON 25. We see they've been at DEF CON and stuff. They, memory physical analysis and stuff like that. So, here's Matsushi, person we can thank for basically figuring this out. So, I just want to point that out now as just a, hey, yo, that's cool to be able to say. Thank you, I guess, for figuring this out. Sorry they closed your thing, even though it's still really, it says new issue from 2018. It's very confusing. So, then I found this. So this is, this. And yes, outputs everything in JSON plain text. Try upgrading from Chrome app. So this, again, about the same thing. Oh, I guess this is the procedure. Chrome extensions, find Signal, turn on developer mode, turn on upgrade Chrome app from that section, run Signal Chrome app, then let you store your data. And to be honest, that probably was the original way their application was set up. Just basically run it through the Chrome as an external app. It's very possible to do that. A lot of apps were doing that at the time. It was a very common thing to do. And very quickly, we all found out it was actually really, really, really bad. So let's keep going. Here we go. Signal desktop leaves and messages decrypted, key in plain sight. So a mistake of the process, right? So this is basically, I think, um, oh yes, this is another Nathaniel Shushi, um, from the other Bleeping Computer. This is another Bleeping Computer article, and he found the exact same thing for Signal on Mac, and I think this was done years later, like in 2020 or something like that. So this is a lot more recent, I believe. I can't remember. Um, and we see here a database SQLite. You just open. So we just have to use something to open up this database SQLite. We just have to basically go find this config.json file. Maybe do a search for just config.json. Oh, there's Mac and then Windows. So, and then you just have this key. So that's what it looks like. It literally is just a text file and it says key, and all you have to do is put a 0x in front of that number, and you have your key. And according to Nathaniel Shushi, who discovered the problem in Signal Desktop, this is the official Signal Desktop. This leaves users' database wide open, and I mean, the thing about that, it really does. This is open text, and here they are using SQL Data Browser, the Cipher version, to open it. We're actually going to give you, we're going to show you where that's at. We're going to allow you to be able to download that. And so the whole steps of this procedure really is just simply open this file, put a 0x in front of this number, copy that with the 0x, use a browser, Cipher browser, to open it up, database SQLite, use that key as the key, like go to raw key, put it in, boom, hit OK, and then look around. Nice. Nice. Now if we keep going down, okay, so no, I guess this was done in early 2018. This is now late 2018. While Signal has not responded to the Bleeping Computers question, a writing community and support manager at Signal named Joshua Ludd responded to a user's question on the Signal forums. We'll go to that Signal forums, but it's a bit convoluted. And here's what the post states. SQL Cipher ships with a good default set of plugins parameters, and its performance is excellent because it's built on top of the widely used SQLite database. The core premise of the article is completely mistaken. I disagree with him. The database key was never intended to be a secret. The database key was never intended to be a secret. At-rest encryption is not something that Signal Desktop is currently trying to provide or has ever claimed to provide. Signal Desktop does not provide security at rest. Full disk encryption can be enabled by the OS level on most desktop platforms. So they expect you to do what Telegram does and iCloud does and just do a full disk encryption on whatever you're using to hold it in. What is up, Rosiv? How come I'm not seeing you in my chat? Okay, so do the post claim that there is a Drano malware on all Telegram-based wallets? Actually, they're claiming that Telegram is being used to facilitate. Telegram is being used in the actions of malware that is draining wallets. It's they're used in 2022. There was a Google application where it was going through Google Docs, and you would download through having you wanted to keep a local storage of it, and that would cause it to say, hey, blah blah blah, and then what am I saying? It would basically get it onto your device, and once it was on your device, it would run Google scripts or scripts for the device that would search for wallets specifically. And they're saying that there is malware in Telegram that is being used in similar. The problem is, though, you don't know you have it, and we'll get into how it's actually activated soon. And I'm trying to figure out why in the heck your comment didn't pop up on the screen like it was supposed to. one thing that's great about YouTube is they don't seem to always keep their stuff set up in the same level. Alright, here we go. So back to where we're going. Sorry I didn't see that sooner. Glad that we can get you on there now, and I could actually answer that for you. Because we do get into a spot later where I will show you a document where they actually explain how the one on Telegram was really working. Was it selective or not? Because it is looking for a wide variety of wallets. So back to another user on the same forum stated, "I think the difficult thing for everybody to understand is why the database is encrypted in the first place. You are saying the SQL cipher just offered better features and performance than using SQLite. Can you point out to any discussion, documentation on that decision-making process?" And I think that's just a weird thing to add into that point, because it's like from what I'm getting from Joshua Lude, is that they didn't actually ever care about the security. It was never a claimed database they were providing. And he said specifically for the at-rest encryption, which kind of weird that you wouldn't, that wouldn't be a part of, it's just weird that that's not a part of the thing. I want to make sure you guys have a link to this, because I think the very next thing is that forum, and it's hard as heck to see what's going on. So here is that forum post that we were just looking the excerpt from. Here it is, right here. Signal blog number, collective cannot break signal encryption. Well, it doesn't matter. We can just read it off of our end. That's kind of the thing here. You have a bunch of people in a group chat. You just gotta get a hold of one of those people now, and their device. Now you have access to the entire group chat, and it's gonna be the same thing on iCloud messages and Telegram messages. Probably, most likely, for the same reason. But I wanted to give you guys access to this actual, because it's really here on Signal. It's insane. It says there's highlighted text, but if we go down here, we can see someone actually recited it. According to Nathaniel Sushi, it's a unique per-device key, so it can be used to decrypt other extracted signal databases. So it cannot be used, so my key does not extract someone else's key. But we just see Nathaniel Sushi is actually being named in this thread from October of 2018. He's very known. It's pretty much known. It says solved. And there's this reason why it was solved, is what we were reading earlier. So here is the linked Nathaniel Sushi Twitter account from earlier. As you can see, there's nothing there. Here is the other Nathaniel Sushi. Again, because at one point he was stated as Nathaniel All Sushi. So this isn't the other Nathaniel Sushi on Twitter. Again, doesn't exist. Here is the SQL database thing that people are talking about. You just download it, and it comes with both the cipher one and the non-cipher one. So you just use the cipher one. Pretty simple. But you can use both of them. And you pretty much almost any browser. I mean, like Windows, Mac, Linux. There you go. I think the only one you can't really do this on is Android. But FreeBSD you can, so cool. So here is his LinkedIn. So you're probably wondering, why am I looking for Nathaniel Sushi? Because Nathaniel Sushi, or Nathaniel R. Sushi, this is who was stated for actually discovering this vulnerability, this problem. And so when a person who discovers a single method to attack almost any cloud-connected application on Mac OS and potentially other machines like Windows, when these kinds of people disappear, that's normally a bad sign. Normally, as a best-case scenario, this means that they were canceled or arrested. Pen testers get arrested often, but is this even a pen tester? I don't think so. But let's see. We got 3 Nathaniel Scucci's on LinkedIn. But obviously, I do believe this is the correct one. We can actually see the other 2 on the side, which one's from Portland, Oregon, one's from just generic USA, and here is from North Carolina, USA. I'm pretty sure this is the right one. None of the other ones had any actual information there. They were just blank pages. So I do want to point out these promotions. They are the promotions manager at Envy. And if we go down, Envy forums from 2016 to present. Most likely they just haven't updated the thing, but this does point to some things. This is an Envy forum breadcrumb. We got a breadcrumb here. Woo! Heck yeah. Besides their name being spelt 3 different ways, this is the first time that we've seen an actual breadcrumb. And I say 3 different ways, I do mean with or without the R. And potentially with a different last name spelling. So let's go to the other LinkedIn. So, well, this is not a LinkedIn page, my bad. It's just the symbol looks similar. I don't know if I got you. Let me get you that QR just in case. Okay, so here we're going to go to a forums promotion page. This is a page where if you have a forum, you would submit stuff into these people, and they would look at it and promote it to their whoever comes to them. I had something like this for Bitcoin early on, 3dbtclist.com, which is no longer an actual website. Don't go to it. But anyway, if we go here, we see there is Envy forums, feedback, and events review. Now, on my information here, it says, pointing out the review was requested by Nathaniel, and this is Nathaniel Scucci at envyforums.net. They were reputable, which means they got a lot of good positivity. Extra notes, we have a dark and light theme, but you have to register for the light theme. Assuming topic, open date, February 16th. Thank you. So as we go further down this, it's going to get older and older and older. Right? Newer. I can't remember. I think it's either older or newer. I think it's one of those 2. So, let's see. Review in progress. Oh, yeah, it gets newer and newer as we go down. So, thank you for the requesting feedback. I have tagged you in the thread. We were finished official, blah, 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 within 96 hours. I wasn't sure what to think of your forum when I saw Envy Forums the first time. It's an interesting name. How did you come up with the name? I was really shocked when I noticed that you had members and discussions on your forum, even though you recently opened. It's kind of a good of shocked, not a bad shocked. There are a lot of things I've noticed upon first inspection, discussing them here, and because they are mentioned elsewhere. So in the review, let's move on with this review. So, the number of members and posts that you have is pretty awesome for a forum that's just open to the public on the 13th. And this is literally 2 days later. And it's great that you have some activity going on before opening your forum to the public. A lot of people have opened a forum with a bunch of empty space and expected people just to fill in the space. And that's true. I remember those days. It required you to have any staff members available to do postings and stuff going on, or even ask friends to help out. The thing is, you keep an eye on everything that's going on in your that's open to the public. You can't slow down or lose momentum at this point. And really, you can. They're just telling you want to keep going. They're complimenting them. There's also something that puzzles me. I'm trying to figure out why the technology area is where it is. And you notice that there's a few things on here where they're kind of pointing that out. There's weird things here and there, package this, blah, 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 weird stuff. And it doesn't make any sense to have technology and the marketplace together as their own separate area. I would move technology to general discussion. And then you combine marketplace and as a group. And your forum isn't really original. I've seen lots of forums that are general in nature, so you're going to have to find some way of standing out from the crowd. If there are some kind of contest or giveaway, something is different, rather than holding and posting contests or something. That is pretty common. So they're saying if you're going to do a contest or giveaway, you got to figure out a way to do it differently, maybe with a game or something. You got to find out a way to make it fun. And they're giving them pretty good points. Oof. But and we can see they paid and everything was done, but going through, you'll notice a lot of the problems they actually really have is it seems like botted information. It don't seem legit, not real info. So, well, let's go to the Wayback Machine. let's find out what it actually looked like. So here it is, everyone. The form, day 1, open to the public, January 6th, 2016. Now, we saw earlier they said it was January 13th, but here is January 6th, and it does seem open to the public. So that's what it looked like. And you can come in and browse and look around. We see a lot of the same posts are by the same people. We see Zeus is a manager or something. Comet and Zeus are the 2 people running this thing right now. There are 2 members available and 16 guests. No one's invisible. So we're going to click on Contact Us. I think that's the very next one. Oh, no. Let me go back and click on Contact Us. So you can see what I mean by it. It'll change. And so you see that next set in the data is not there. Now let's go on. So this is March 3rd, 2021. We're kind of just skipping ahead to one of the last entry sets. Now this isn't the very last entry, but it's one of the last entries, and it's again March 3rd, 2021. It's kind of an odd date. It's 3/3/21. Notice the changes made to the form. Notice the faces like catgirl.1. Yeah, here we go. So we can see faces, names, threads and messages and stuff. We're noticing very quickly it still doesn't really look like much activity in this catgirl name right here by this face. They write a lot. They seem to be a big person in this form. So here's January 20th, 2021. You can see it definitely changed again. We see again, Catgirl is noted as staff member administrator. This is Catgirl's, I believe, their, yeah, this is the Catgirl 1's member page, and they are the staff member administrator. There are 22 at this time from the U.S. This image is kind of important to look at, and you'll see why in a few minutes, because we're still tracking down Nathaniel Scucci. So here on Discourse, what languages and frameworks do I need to continue to discourse? And this is from November 2017. And we see now here Nathaniel Scucci is directly linked to this exact same image of Catgirl. Catgirl 1, specifically. And we got more to look in here because Nathaniel here is a little bit more active, I guess. So, thing just says keep going. Oh yeah, here they are. We can see they got quite a good number of stats. They joined 10/17, like in October 2017. Last date anything was posted was that same year. Last seen was in 2020. Quite a bit of cheers, and they've actually have a solution here, and we see the stuff they're dealing with. It is like frameworks and webhooks and things like that. So let's go figure out what they so this is their solved. I can confirm that the new image uploads are not affected by this bug. By any chance, are you guys iterate over to the old images and assign a MIME type so where one is not already specified? Very minor issue, still a concern. And he gives this example: Nathaniel's MacBook Pro guides, Nathaniel Scucci, curl, and then so he shows you how you could basically add in that meme type really easy. And this is a lack of content type header causes issues with GitHub image previews. So this is a fix for GitHub image previews. So obviously on GitHub, right? Here is Nikola Malavaka Scucci, she, her, and spelt in Scucci, one of the spelling sets that we will see for Nathaniel Scucci. And this looks more like someone's personal account. that they just never used. Many devs do that, where they'll get a personal and a public account for their dev work. Um, I mean, it does hit all the same marks. Like I mean, there's no comments or anything. The only thing here is the fact that they just like made an account. I can't remember when this account was made. There it is. That one day. So whatever day that is, right there. May 12th. All they did was start an account. Yep. Join GitHub April 20th, 2023. Gave me the wrong day too. So April 20th, 2023. So 4/20/2023, this account joined GitHub. So this is extremely recent. Extremely recent. Here we go. So here is one not so recent. So most likely this would be like a professional one. Here they're using the professional name Nathaniel, specifically Nathaniel Alshushi that we saw earlier, and we see that even their name here, my name is SU, my name is Sue. That kind of sounds like they're saying their name is Sue, like a woman's name, and earlier trans stuff, she, her. So okay. So we can see that they're pointing directly to prism.pw, contact us, which says that most likely they have something to do with this. If we look at their contributions, it is all to the same prism.pw. We can see they joined only October 17th, 2015. So this most likely the same Nathaniel. And in SU, in sushi. Again, all of the comments here are simply to that same exact one. So let's see, can we go look at them? So here we go. Here is one of their comments. And we see this is just to like the README. It's all the basic information you would do as like a owner or something or starting up a project. And this is yeah, it's very README, blah blah blah, propaganda, CEO, nothing special. Okay, so here we're actually seeing some codes. This is PHP, and if we look through here, this is like a basic SQL connection setup for a form, for like a web form. Kinda Nathaniel's thing, right? I'm gonna get rid of some of these tabs. You see everything's running a little slow. Alright, here we go, prism.pw. Well, let's open Inspector. Let's inspect. Okay, nothing here. Oh, wait, what? Ooh, well, looky here. x4polyxxpush.com. Can I zoom in on that? Nope. Can't zoom in on it. But x4polyxxpush.com. Well, I've seen that once before, and I've seen that in free generator programs. It's normally used for lacing in monetization with ads automatically. But it's here in this soon-to-be PW website. So what is a PW website? What is a PW website that Nathaniel is pointing to? I'm going to actually drop this site because it is running a lot of stuff in the background. So a PW site actually, according to this, is for the professional web. And in reality, I think I had that here somewhere. what .pw is for. It's actually for some island or something. So .pw is supposed to be the namespace for individuals and businesses who want a professional presence on the web. There are plenty of successful domains for that, like .com, .net, blah, blah, blah. Even .pro. Oh, yeah, .biz, .co, .pro. .pw is open. Anyone can register a .pw name. It's available, a completely new namespace with unlimited domain options. It was first delegated in 97, so there's quite a few options available. It's very cheap and affordable. It's secure with the best industry practices of UDRP. It's also trademark friendly. Now, if anybody knows what UDRP is, you'll get why that's not secure. I'm noticing a trend in security nowadays where they just claim things are secure that have no security. Uniform Domain Name Dispute Resolution Policy is what UDNR stands for. Is what we were just reading. Was what that means. Okay, UDRP. The Uniform Domain Name Dispute Resolution Policy is a process established by the Internet Corporation for assigning names and numbers by the resolution of dispute regarding the names on the Internet domains. So basically, if only a UDRP is the only thing you need for it to be a secure, then it's not secure. It's just a security certificate being attached, like a .app TLD would need an actual security certificate instead of just a UDRP. So it's a faux security, and yes, faux does mean fake. So again, fake security that you could add real security on top to it. But that does mean PW in the future could bypass native audits or payloads like we were seeing, and that's how we got here in the first place. Again, Nathaniel, the person who figured out this attack, got a system that could be a potential competitor for Telegram and iCloud that is on a .pw that is in the fake security method that is on its way to then help also bypass device audits and security program audits of anything you download, allowing a easier to attack web surface on everyone who uses a desktop computer. And maybe everyone who uses the internet. Especially now that Windows can open web domains as files locally, independently, without your permission. So let's look more into this prism.pw. Here it is. Here is their who is thing. We can see a couple of things in here. Eleanor and Nora are both interchangeable names, meaning Noah is a male short form of Eleanor. And it breaks down to, you can break Eleanor down to Eli and Nora, N-O-R-E, which when you say it, it sounds like Noah. So, because the H, because it has that H sound because of the soft E. There, Nora, right? So these are interchangeable names, and you'll see that as a common thing as we do more stuff, and we run into a couple more of these Cloudflare service things for stuff that involves, well, Nathaniel. Sushi. If we go, like, again, the server transfer prohibited, client transfer prohibited, client delete prohibited, does not sound good. Does not sound good. And even who they got the domain from sounds like a joke. Porkbun.com. Okay. So, here's another Nathaniel Scucci on Twitter. Thought we got through all of these. Oh, yeah. No, I guess not. This has got a different setup, the Sushi NS. So at this point, we're just showing you all the different ways that they go through the name, which leads us to nsushi.us. Strange thing about that spelling, don't you think? Hosted in the middle of the USA. Probably for all around connection speeds. This is made up of like 50% JavaScript. Let's see what else is hosted on the same server. Fifth cell's a little bit Forbidden 43 Forbidden site. Some of this is just a bit strange. Oh, what's this? It's ran on Ubuntu. In sushi.me wp it's just using a JSON file. Well, that could be an attack right there. And it's short linked to it. So it short links somewhere else. Imagine that. Imagine that. I may have run a little bit off topic. So let's see what we can do. Let's get back on topic. So yeah, this is obviously back from Discourse, Nathaniel Scrucci. I have a feature request. I have a hardware appliance that runs inline with my web server. When activated, intercepts HTTP and HTTPS, so both open and secure requests. The problem is that it does not support HTTP 2 or WebSockets. When it is activated, certain actions like the post fails to complete. And it's only activated during DDoS attacks using certain types of flooding. And it won't activate in case of a synth flood that's handled differently. However, legacy support for HTTP 1.1 without WebSockets would be nice. So you can activate things stored on your computer through WebSockets by flooding your traffic a certain way. Non-synchronous flooding? DDoS attacks? That's oddly specific, which is the point. If you go through all this, you actually find out that they're actually talking about this website here, posting this website. And they're using this as a test bed, is what it seems like. And we can see they're even directly linking to GitHub, all sorts of different stuff. Skits. And they're showing the errors. And yeah, so they're definitely learning. All the way back in 2017. This goes on for a while. Whew. So, they did eventually figure out the problem and things like that and how to get it to work, even though it's not designed to work with it, which is kind of important. Back in 2017, they figured all this out. Alright. But yeah, it does sound like hidden functions from specific flooding is only specific types of attacks that will trigger the socketed data. This sounds a lot like when someone wants to put a bed down on the floor before they break a lock into a house by just kicking in the door. You know, it's like padding your attack or figuring out all the vectors to the attack before you do it, and then setting up a failsafe so you don't mess up in the most obvious way. Whew. So we're gonna keep going forward and see. Okay, I'm gonna have to remove some more tabs. Having problems loading stuff. Alright. Going back to where we were. Now this is the video from Naomi Brockwell that was like brought to my attention. So like now that we can kind of get this one exploit is being used across a broad spectrum of similar things. This is all forms, and for some reason instant messaging comes from forms and webhooks, and Telegram is after all an instant messaging application. I think that's kind of wrong nowadays. It acts more like a fully functional cloud service. But again, this is the video on Telegram, and in the context of your data isn't encrypted and is stored in public. It is pretty much correct, but there's caveats to it, of course, or else we wouldn't be here. And to be honest, again, the video is one of the bigger reasons why I even looked into the original people claiming these claims, which led us to Nathaniel, who seems to be producing a potential competitor to instant messaging services, or is being set up to run and train on cloud connected systems. And I say that, I mean, there might be an automated attack system being done on a website being built right now that's looking for stuff. So, and you at this point you may be wondering why like I keep adding in like Discord and other things, and because it's used in the same similar attack vector for all of these attack. It's the exact same attack. The problem is, Nathaniel pointed out, across 3 major IM systems that a single attack method, which we know is also doable on Discord, is just sitting around not being patched or fixed by any of these companies. It's what we're pointing out, and even Naomi Brockwell is pointing it out. So I want to go to this one. Here's Mental Outlaw. If you don't know who Mental Outlaw is, then are you even a hacker? Come on, man. Mental Outlaw points out, did FBI hack Signal? Because like I said, I see people on both sides of the saying that neither of these are safe or anything. So, no, FBI did not hack Signal. Whatever was highlighted has been de-highlighted. Because it says to read the highlight. But no, FBI didn't hack Signal. It's in this video, the Forbes article for the FBI hacking, they actually hacked into a locked iPhone and retrieved Signal messages from it, and not hacking Signal messaging app. So I mean, there are people out there pointing out that it's probably easier to hack the device than actually hacking the app, and that's kind of a big point here. It's almost always going to be easier just to hack the device than hack the app. So, can I encrypt macOS with SQLite backend? And SQLite has hooks built in for encryption which are not used in the normal distributions. But here are a few implications that we know of. And so, it says, you know, there's C, the official implication. There's WX SQLite. It's a widget for C++ wrapper that gives you encryption. SQL Cipher, which is the one that we already gave you. SQLite Crypt, it's a different one. Bonton SQ3, SQLite, Cha-Cha 20, or Poly 1305. And C and SQL Crypt require the purchase of a license. Disclosure, this person used Bonon Squite 3. And you can see I've been to a few different places. So yes, it's definitely possible, even with just a simple password, which most of those, that's all it's going to give you is a password encryption. So let's, I guess, keep moving on. So here is Razor SQL. And here it says SQLite is a compact cross-platform, self-contained relational database management system that is available to the public domain. SQLite is included in macOS and Mac OS X by default. It tells you where to find it and gives you more information about it, and even shows you a little thing about it. Okay, cool. So this is like for real legit. This is not a joke. It's in your Mac, okay, automatically. We showed you how to get it for your computer or whatnot. Go back to it. Keep that again. That's this right here. This is how you can get it. Show. Maybe this one again, and let's keep on going, because all I really want to show you is that this is something that is so common. It's already in some devices that are considered secure, and it's kind of like the de facto database nowadays. Okay, it doesn't rely on a centralized databasing. It relies on the ability to be separated by a bunch of different layers. It doesn't matter. So it's kind of designed around this concept of fractured structures and things like that. I just kind of wanted to show you. Here's the SQL Cipher thing specifically. I think this one's specifically for Mac. How to do full database encryption, because you kind of need to know how to do it. It's kind of important. As now my QRs are moving and changing shape. So what's the default location for Mac SQL3 database? We see SQL3 is not a server-based DBMS, so it's not a server-based database module. It's kind of like MySQL is. it has a centralized location for its database files. So that's how MySQL works. Most databases, they have centralized location. So SQL3 does not require that. It means every app can have its own database and stored in its own location. It does not typically have default or even a central location for databases. It relies on individual files or individual databases, which it can be located anywhere in the file system. This was the default location for this person. If you keep your SQL database the same as your application's name, all you need to do is give the application name in which the database file name is after the SQLite, and that should do it. So basically you're saying this is a generic setup, SQLite, and then the database name, .db, and that almost always works. So whatever the app is named, and then .db, boom, there it is, and that's for Mac. That's for Mac. So, I mean, you know me. We're not going to just talk about it comes on Mac, show you it comes on Mac. I'm going to actually give you the file right here that's most likely sitting on Mac. This is most likely the SQLite 3 C file, source code, for the one sitting on your Macintosh right now. This is the one that is used in, the, I believe, the most recent Macintosh. If, you know, and something you'll notice is, like, instead of legal notices, there's blessings. There's a lot of weird stuff in this. And when you go through, you'll see, you know, it's not set to private, but it does have those capabilities. It is API proper, and old as fuck. It's really old. This one is really old. It needs to be updated, honestly. So, it says show the size of the file. Oh, yeah, okay, so this file is huge. It's hard to individually audit. It says, show that how difficult it is to audit. So this file is really going to be difficult for one person to audit, especially since the loop layering is nested loop layering. So some loops loop back into other nests that don't execute all the time, which is kind of how they're hiding traffic flow. So, yeah, it really does need to be updated badly. So, there is hope. You know, I don't just tell you guys there's a hole in your Mac and then not tell you how to fix it. So, you can change how your DSN is configured on your Mac. And so, this just points out that your DSN sits on your Mac. So, your Mac's backend is also available as your front end. It's right there. Which is kind of pointing out how Nathaniel was able to do this one attack on Mac so easily, because the back end is right there with its front end. It's all in the same spot. And as odd as it sounds like he figured out this attack on accident. So this is kind of a tongue-in-cheek way of saying your Mac is very handy at doing many things, including running its own backend openly as it does. So, I mean, source installation on macOS fails due to configuration files. This is really recent, really new. Already noted on take action here when installing the from source macOS currently, also backed by the client builds. So there's a highlighted comment somewhere in here. Yeah, I'm not sure why it builds from source, but it does. In fact, the behavior relating to installation is very erratic. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it gets fixed by applying one or more mini solutions suggested here or on elsewhere. I've been using the package for a few years and had to install it several occasions, and has always had issues with installation on different systems and configurations. This, in my opinion, qualifies as something that deserves an issue on GitHub. Edit. I'm using Renv to manage packages. Could it be related to that? No, actually it's not really related to that. It has something more to do with Homebrew and with how the, that thing file I was just showing you setting go is set up. It's really how some of the source files on the Mac are set up. And they're just like upgraded old files instead of being brand new files remade to suit the new times. But it can get worse, okay? It can get worse. Because, as we see here, I just want to point out like common errors people get with the SQL database. Because we were just seeing there, it works, it doesn't work, it's wishy-washy. Because there are so many strange with this wishy-washy errors that well, it shows up in the applications that or it's kind of strange that even applications run as smoothly as they do because these are going to show up in the applications, obviously. So confusion about URL path to configure SQL-like databases. Hi, I'm building an application using Flask and SQL3. Had issues connecting the database. You're correct about the database component being read as all characters after the third slash. Here's a parsed version 1 of the URL. These are some weird URLs. In SQLite, it looks like this, blah, blah, blah. In Windows, a slash at the beginning of the path gets normalized and working directory. So even in like the different systems, it's going to work slightly different, which is a kind of a point here. Even how SQL3 works based on Windows, Mac, Android is going to change how it reads some things, which is another reason why up until more recently, about 2019, a lot of these problems only existed on Mac versions. This is actually the reason why. The reason version 1 doesn't work is because specifying both a leading slash and a drive letter will get normalized by Windows into an invalid path. But it doesn't do that on Mac. If you're printing SQLite 3 to another location or the current working directory, I recommend following the following problems where it cannot find the database. It worked for me when I was running Optuma on an RDB. And if we look, it's like they're breaking down how it's looking for it. It's breaking it down in pieces, and it comes down to a database with the DB, and then a raw string. And what this really shows us is how some of these databases are actually being opened in the code. So it's just like directory, open up this thing with the database, and then apply this string. So it's database plus key. Okay, so that's just how SQL3 works. So the problem that we keep complaining about is just how SQL3 works. It's just how it works. Okay. So the alchemy of SQL is very important. So it says to read the green. Yeah, here we go. So SQLite connects to a file-based databases using Python built-in modules by default. And if anybody knows anything about Python, Python is a way to redirectly connect JavaScript to C, to C++, all these things, and even base sometimes in different ways to try to find the fastest way to do things, even if it's a multi-step process, blah, blah, blah. So that kind of explains why this wishwashiness happens with Python. So sometimes Python might be trying to do it, run it through a C channel, or it might be trying to run through a JavaScript to go to a C, or it might just be going directly to C+, or a bash, or a base. And that's going to change it the way it works each and every time. We can actually see here some of these hashing problems are directly in the SQL database as issues. We see they all work differently, slightly, kinda, sorta. And you can find out more information here about it if you want to learn about it. Basically, the alchemy of it simply comes down to the problems. The problems we saw connected to SQ3 specifically, where it's part of the SQ3 database, and more importantly, the Python built modules for the SQ3 database by default is what was messing up. So this does mean that everyone has issues with these SQL databases that Python is going to need as a dependency. Yes, Python needs this SQL database as a dependency to run Python. So if you run Python on your computer, you're most likely going to start having problems. This may be a bit difficult to see right now, but a reason why Python code has become so big in almost every major fad programming language in the past 3 years is that Python, you know, it's good, it's easy. Many industrial coders have already decided Python and SQLite are the databases of the current internet and have been doing this for about 6 to 8 years now. Enough of the big taboo lobbies, and or however Lewis Rossman from Rossman Group says it. This conspiracy's the loophole, where's the privacy, is not lost. Let's get back to the privacy. Well, got ahead of myself. When I saw That one group did their own tests, find these problems with Telegram, and Nathaniel found the same issue with the entire Mac OS and almost any cloud-connected application nowadays. I wanted to find the source for both Alpha Nerd and FBI video and Naomi's video. And, well, Alpha Nerd shows it on his video. So does Naomi. She also shows it in her video. And now we're going to go directly to her source. That's right. We're going to go to Naomi Brockwell's source right now. Right in front of your eyes. We're going to switch it up. Where did she get her source from about this problem with Telegram? Oh, yeah, she got it from Telegram directly. Okay. Cool. So, she just got it from Telegram. Legal ground for processing your personal data. We process your personal data on the ground that such processing is necessary to further our legitimate interests, including providing effective and innovative services to our users, detect, prevent, or otherwise address fraud or security issues in respect to our provision of services, unless there's interested or overwritten by our interests or fundamental rights and freedoms that require protection of these persons. Unless those interests are overridden by your interests or fundamental rights. Well, I don't feel like my interests were ever my interests are not being looked at all in this case. Cloud chats. Telegram is a cloud service. We store messages, photos, videos, and documents from your cloud chats on servers so that you can access your data from any of your devices anytime without having to rely on third-party backups. All data is stored heavily encrypted, and the encryption keys in each case are stored in several other different centers in different jurisdictions. This way, local engineers or physical intruders cannot get access to your data. I just want to point out, but that doesn't mean that if it's like if it's on our device, they just have to get a hold of our device now to have access to that without even having access to the app. They just have to have access to the database, right? So when you send photos, videos, or file secret chats before uploading, each one is encrypted with a separate key. Again, this is media and secret chats, not known to the server. This key file locations are encrypted again. So, okay, so they do store secret chats on their server, but just however they get it. This time with the secret chats key. The key and the file's location are then encrypted again, this time with the secret chats. And then sent to the recipient. Yeah, that sounds dangerous to do right like that. Why would you do that on your server and not on my computer where it should have been done in the first place? They can download and decipher the file. This means that the file is technically on Telegram servers with the key, and it looks like a piece of random and sure, it looks like garbage. From the looks of it, there's a process being done on your server that would allow someone to access the key during that process. Telegram also supports public channels and public groups. All public chats are cloud chats. So basically, unless you're doing a secret chat, it's a cloud chat. Just like with iCloud. Like everything on Telegram, your data and posted in public communities is encrypted, but in storage and in transit. Both and in storage and in transit, my bad. But everything you post in public is accessible to everyone. And again, unless it's a secret chat, it's public. Okay. Well, that means, again, all public chats are cloud chats. This does include public chats since they are considered a public chat, even if it's private. I'm unsure, but this is very sketchy. So, notice that it says encrypted in storage and transit, but everything else is in public, is accessible to the public. Because at-rest storage of the data is stored on their servers. Well, at-rest doesn't mean key is encrypted or anything like that. None does it. As we saw earlier, at-rest can mean key is unencrypted, but everything else is encrypted right next to it. So it could just be open text at rest, while in transit it is considered encrypted. But it does say it both in storage. It does not say in at rest. So no clue. Could be either there. We're going to move on to the next part of Naomi Brockwell's source. FAQ. Telegram's FAQ. I mean, you think about it, it's like it's just been sitting here. Like all this information is sitting here. I shouldn't have scrolled away. Okay, wait. Whoa. I didn't mean to click anything. Wait. Do you process takedown requests from third parties? Please note that this does not apply to local restrictions on freedoms of speech. For example, if criticizing the government is illegal in some country, Telegram won't be part of such political motivated censorship. So if you, okay, basically they do some, they're basically admitting to some takedown requests and some censorship. To protect the data that is not covered in an encryption, Telegram uses a distributed infrastructure. Cloud chat data is stored in multiple data centers around the globe. Now, I want to point out in the way they describe this, because your key is stored on your device, that is technically a distributed infrastructure with not one single key opening all of the databases stored together. That does not mean it's encrypted. The relevant decryption keys are split into parts that are never kept in the same place as the data they protect, except for on your device. As a result, several court orders from different jurisdictions would be required for them to give up your data. That's a good point. It's only jurisdictions for them to give up your data. It's not the same if someone in a private group chat that you were involved with, when you said something you probably shouldn't have said, maybe, I guess, and they get a hold of somebody in there, or they just get a plant and automate downloading everything so they can have a copy of everything so they can just take you out then. Oh, wait, yeah, okay. So, but it's out here in the open. Just sitting here. You can just come here and read it whenever you want. So let me make sure you get that QR code second time. Next. So, we're on the Telegram Wiki, and if we look right here, the license is GPL, so it's an open-ended license. It's a instant messaging is the type of platform it is. And we are about to pull a bunch of data from here, but look how I just can't believe they're claiming it's instant messenger when obviously it's a cloud service. In their FAQ, it even says that they are a cloud service like iCloud. Now, they don't say like iCloud. I said like iCloud, but they do say cloud service. They both have IMs and instant messaging, cloud service, and Telegram and iCloud. They both have IMs and instant messaging built in. They both provide across-device connectivity and have similar vulnerabilities as features as iCloud and cloud-connected applications, and somehow Discord is another example that fits this bill with Telegram, supposedly. Let's go on. So here is basically how the secret chats in Telegram work. And if we look at how the secret chats really are set up, it isn't too far away from 2FA systems. And if anything, it shows that it's very generic except for the color matrix system and the math involved in that color matrix. But that's it. It's the only uniqueness to it. Everything else is super generic. It's actually running off of a very basic model. Even a Diffie-Hellman secret chat model, just using colors instead of general. It's using color math instead of other kinds of math. Okay. So here is the verification of MT Proto 2.0. I did have the first one too, but it just seemed kind of pointless giving you the original and this one, because this one kind of removes the original completely. Because remember, in one of the videos we talked about already, they mentioned the fact that, Telegram's encryption model is custom. It is. But it's built on a generic model. It's just custom maths and stuff like that. And many of the stuff you'll see in here is exactly what you would expect. Like, what you would expect. I don't know any other way to say that. Okay, hold on. Let me look at my notes. Maybe my notes have something different, okay? Because this is, again, this is Arvex. All right? It's the PDF to their actual thing. And as we see the security model, we see fixed points, we know vulnerabilities, which makes most of what we reliant on not the key itself, but the predetermined values. This is common. So under their threat model, so okay, another abstract was seen, let me look, pseudo-cryptographic protocols for instant messaging over the core popular Telegram Messenger application. It is using ProVerif verifications for protocol verifications and the Delov-Yo model. In particular, they're using the fully automated proofs. It's a very popular blah blah. So this is around speed. And when you come in here, their threat model, I think, was what I really wanted to point out. Where in the hell was that at? So the security model, we see here, we can see the actual security model is not, it's not very good. I will admit that. But this is, if anything, equivalent to maybe a 512 SHA. Maybe a little bit more, maybe 1080 SHA. But they're reusing in more than once. And I think K is being used as in at some point. So if we go to their threat model, we adopt the classical symbolic Delov, which is one of the ProVerif models. More specifically, we assume that all messages are transmitted over a public network and that all active intruder can intercept, modify, forward, drop, reply, and reflect any message. Besides, we assume that an attacker may also exfoliate the secret data, such as pre-shared keys during the or after the execution of this protocol. As mentioned above, we assume that the encrypted messages are unbreakable unless the key becomes available to the attacker. Well, look at that. We assume the encrypted messages are unbreakable unless the key becomes available to the attacker. Well, then in that case, your threat model is ruined. The second you assume something is unbreakable just because they don't have a key, you fucked up, buddy. You already messed it up. Because there's no other way to get around that when you give them the key. Or do they? That's the thing. We keep saying they give us the key, they give us the key, they give us the key. But do we have the key? Kinda. It gets complicated. So we're going to go to the next spot. I'm just going to keep on going. Ah, there we go. Here is an updated version to the protocol. Let's see if anything changed. Let's see highlights. Okay, we provide first formal symbolic model. We already saw that. Provide automated proof. Well, you provide automated proof of the formal correctness in the model. The properties we provide include authentication, integrity, security, perfect. So, our modelization and severe. So, I mean, if you go through these, it's starting to read more like a white paper and less like an audit, which makes us very suspicious. And this has been an ongoing trend for the past near decade to have a white paper seeming audit where the audit doesn't seem like to attack or to break. It just checks to see if the application does as it claims as some strange minimum use or minimum verification model. To be honest, none of this even seems like these people even tried to attack it. It almost looks like they just looked over the code and went, yeah, it looks right. So, I want to point out, we're going back to Mac. Okay, so I looked at Telegram, looked at the model, looked at the fact that even the verification of the model for Telegram is kind of sus. Now, remember I was saying Telegram is more like an iCloud than Signal? Well, here are some more proofs behind that theory. Apple of Macintosh had to start a security compliance project. Keep in mind, Apple used to be the world's most secure device, and the Mac OS used to be the world's most secure OS. Why would they need a security compliance project? And June 6th of this 2023, of just last year. So macOS Security Compliance Project is an open source effort to provide a programmatic approach to generating security guidance. The project can be used to output customized documentation scripts, logging in, remediating, configuration profiles, and an audit checklist based on the baseline use. Basically, you can get your macOS to actually perform its own audit. Cool. Nice to have an automated way to audit my own Mac. This is a joint project of the Federal Operation IT Security Staff and from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, National Defense Information Systems Agency, DISA, and the Los Alamos National Laboratory, LINO. Yeah, I don't like any of those. None of that sounds good. None of that sounds good. Those are the top leading security companies or organizations in technically America. Oof. Well, looky here. 2.6 billion personal records compromised by data breaches in the past 2 years, underscoring need for end-to-end encryption. This is after they did this compliance security project, which did directly involve altering the old Mac security. And if we scroll down, it says the total number of data breaches more than tripled between 2013 and 2022. More than tripled between those two times? Exposing 2.6 billion personal records in the past 2 years alone. So in the past 2 years alone, Apple has had more data breaches than ever existed, tripled of 2013 to 2022. That's almost 10 years. It was triple that for just the past 2 years alone in the end of 2023. If we really get... this is scary. Especially since it's dramatically grown since the last report done in 2022. Oh, my bad. That 2.6 billion personal records, that was in 2022. They had 2.6 billion personal records in 2021, 2022 alone. And that is triple the number of breaches between 2013 and 2022. Now keep in mind, this is the number of Mac breaches compared to the number of all breaches in known history from 2013 to 2022. That's a huge difference after some of the world's most leading national security agencies in America get involved with the security of Mac. So let's keep going. iCloud Data Security Overview. Let's look at their actual protection, because I keep saying Telegram is more like iCloud than it is Signal. Standard data protection is the default setting for your account. Your iCloud device is encrypted. The encryption keys are secured in Apple data centers, so we can help you with data recovery. And only certain data is end-to-end encrypted. Sounds exactly like Telegram. Advanced data protection for iCloud. Ooh, advanced data protection. This is optional, by the way. If you choose to enable advanced data protection, your device, your trusted devices, retain sole access to the encryption keys for the majority of your iCloud data, therefore protecting it and using an encryption. Additional data protection includes iCloud backup, photos, notes, and more. And there's a note here about it. And encryption data can be decrypted only by your trusted devices where you're signed when your Apple ID. No one else can access the encryption data, not even Apple. This remains... Okay, that's not true, though. So why is it with your Apple ID? Apple ID, your password plus your Apple ID is actually part of your... That is actually your iCloud security key. and just any one of your Apple devices that's been connected to iCloud at any point in time with your Apple ID fully whatever set up and ready, then that means any one of those, if you have advanced data protection for with your iCloud turned on, I can just grab any one of your devices, get into the device, pull the database, and then boom, I have actual access to your keys because it's sitting on there in a manner that's going to be usable, where I don't need to know your Apple ID and password. It's already in the Apple device in my hand that I just took from you. So it does show you it's the exact same security model as Telegram. When you're using advanced data protection for iCloud, you're actually running the equivalent of Telegram. That's a little scary. But that's the reality of your advanced data protection. It's just simply we put it all on your device in the open for you to look at. Okay, so let's see. Dr. Duh gives you macOS security and privacy guide. That's right. I mean, I am feeling pretty bad for cloud users right now. So here's Dr. Duh's guide to help your Mac a little bit more secure. Yeah, it really is just the steps, not fully explained how to do each step, but there are links to everything, so you can kind of work your way to it. But this just shows you each step that you're actually going to have to do, and this really is to show how little is actually needed to be done, but it's still needed to be done. And in reality, this probably takes like 52 to 78 hours to set up per Mac, or if you only have one or per device. So this is only half helpful. A person owning a Mac still has to do the actual step of all this to secure their Mac, and then a practice Mac use. A practice Mac's used to not do is set everything up. But it needs to be like that on all desktops. You need to set up your security, you need to harden it, you need to make it more secure, you need to on everything, your device, your OS, your operating system, your browsers, everything you use, anything connects, any peripherals, everything. In the past, we've shown how to harden some of your operating systems and browsers, so go view some past episodes to catch that out, because we're not going to show you how to do all that here, but this definitely is going to help you get started. So yeah, I am going to show you throughout this episode how to make your Mac a little bit more secure in different ways. And here they even give you lockdown mode. Yeah, neat. Let's keep going. So what's new in updates for the macOS Sonoma? So if we look here, if we're just looking at the macOS updates to see what they actually bring to their users, I want to point out that some bugs are being released as updates, and many of the bugs that are actually being released as updates are just SQL3 known issues. That's really what we want to go here. So, okay, Queries is the new or original daily word game that is now available in Apple News. So what? That's Apple News. That's not Mac OS. Actually, yeah, that's built into Mac OS now. Why? I don't know. Scoreboard and News Puzzles gives you access to new player data oh, that's why. Because new player data is now connected to more things that it wasn't before. And then some of these features don't work for some regions where they don't allow that stuff. The USB hub connects to an external display, may not be recognized. Copy production audio unit plug-ins and desired professional music apps may not open or validate. Apps include Java may quit randomly. That's a known SQL3 problem. Mac OS, Sonoma, okay. New emojis, 18 people on board emojis. Podcast episode text can be read in full, searched from there and clicked from play. Well, that's actually that was a new search system that was put into the web in general. Business updates and messaging, and for businesses let you get updates. Okay, so yeah, like some of these updates are literal just issues. Why don't they just call them issues? Well, here we go. Here is, well, if you don't know what Stig is, let's just say, many people are calling Signal a three-letter agency app. Telegram is being called a honeypot. iCloud is being called a three-letter agency app, or a three-letter agency infected system. Discord, I don't hear much of anything. But let's look at STIG, because STIG is definitely 3 letter agencies. It's the Secure Technical Implication Guide, and it's published as a tool to improve the security of the Department of Defense Information Systems for the United States of America. Well, and believe it or not, they actually, more countries than the USA actually use these guidelines. You want to make your Mac even more secure? STIG is going to show you how to do it. So why is this stuff so? What do we need to secure? Remote login through SSH is enabled. Password-based authentication must be disabled for user login. Why? All users must go through the manufacturer authentication to prevent unauthorized access. Woo! Dual logins create a loophole. macOS system must disable trivial file transfer protocol services. Wow. Must be disabled. It can only be configured if essential, because it is a hole in the system. macOS system must limit SSHD and FIPS compliant connections, because again, you have a limit on how many signatures you can use. Therefore, loophole. If you break that limit, you can then bypass it. The macOS system must limit SSH, and again, for same reason, algorithms running on there in the keys that they rely on. The macOS system must apply gatekeeper settings to basically, if we go through this whole thing, you're going to get more and more afraid to use your Mac every one of these you read. Yes, they do actually. We will go over the evidence and figure out how to actually fix these problems. So keep in mind. Keep in mind that this is after various groups jumped in to make iCloud advanced, blah, blah, blah. And starting to seem like if we follow the DoD STIG reports, we'll end up with a really secure Mac. Okay, so we might end up with a really secure Mac if we keep following these. So why do I say that? Well, audit records and establish what type of events we can, because you can self-audit. Note, security auditing is enabled by default on Mac. Why do we have to enable it? Here's how you enable it. Here's all the stuff you need to do here. Because for some reason, the Department of Defense wanted to make sure they had the highest usability in what they were buying. And if we just go over it's weird. It's like if we go over the standard built by the high security groups in the USA government, then we'll have an absolute mess of a database that even removes security and thusly removing our privacy. But if we go through the STIG reports and follow what they say and use these STIG reports to make our Mac better, we'll have an absolute strong device, according to the Department of Defense. Come on, let's go to it. For our customers' protection, Apple does not disclose, discourse, or confirm security issues until an investigation has occurred and patches or releases are available. That's why they release bugs as updates, because they can't call it an issue. But they want to let you know about it. They have to legally do so. So here are some issues that have patches available. Does not mean you have access to that patch. Available for Mac Studio, blah, 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 blah. An app may be able to read sensitive location information. A permissions issue was addressed in improved reduction of sensitive information. Buffer overflow issue. Let me see. Was there any of these highlighted? Alright, so there's just some stuff down here at the bottom I really want to look at. Xprotect framework. An app may be able to modify protected parts of the filing system, or the file system. That's not good. An app may be able to unexpectedly leak a user's credentials from secure text fields. That's not good. That sounds like a lot of the problems that we've been having with what they've been saying, Telegram and stuff on Mac. Anonymous researcher being one of the people who have pointed this out. Wi-Fi specifically, an app may be able to cause unexpected system termination or write kernel memory. Write to kernel memory. Whoa, that's RCE. WebKit issues. Processing web content may lead to arbitrary code execution. That's bad. A remote attacker may be able to view leaked DNS queries with the private relay turned on. So they could be running a private relay DNS entries. We can leak it through the Wi-Fi, have a WebKit pick it up, to have a WebKit be able to read it, to then have a user's password read aloud by voice over, to bypass most of that, to then plug in to gain a database. Well, it seems like everything that they're having problems with Mac is known, but getting a fix for it might not be possible for most of these. I don't know. That's something you'll have to figure out how to fix. You have to go through and get all these fixed. These are known issues. Get them fixed. Make sure they're fixed. Get the patches if they exist. And that's kind of the problem here. These issues they're having with newest form of Mac is, well, SQL 3 database issues. So here are some more, well, I don't know how to say that. Here is the U.S., here's the NIST government's Mac OS security releases. So you can get more information and really help yourself get more your stuff safe. There's multiple pages of these releases for stuff, so go through them because it might take a while. It might take a while to find what you're looking for. Okay. So here is the NIST actual publication to automate secure configuration guidance from the macOS Security Compliance Project. So here's how to automatively protect your Mac. You'll notice it's got Department of Commerce, it's got all the right seals and blah, blah, blah. One of these it says just read the abstract. Okay. The macOS Security Compliance Project provides secure resources to the system administrators, security professionals, security policy authors, information security officers, auditors, leveraging secure accesses macOS desktop and laptop system security in an automated way. This is how to automate your security. This publication introduces the MSP and gives other overview to resources available from the project's GitHub site. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Wow. Security baseline YAML file, YAML rule file. Wow. Sounds like YAML was a bad idea. Look at some of the acknowledgements. Nice. Whew. I ain't gonna go through it like that. I know I just want to make you think I was gonna. I wanted to make sure you get the full PDF on your own so you can have access to it. And he said there's a GitHub. I think we're just at the GitHub. So let's go back to the GitHub. Ah, look at here. There's their front page. Not much of a page, is it? No wonder people are confused. Unless you actually know what you're looking for, what you're going to, you know, you're actually looking in these little words and stuff. You're not going to have a clue what the hell you're doing. You're going to have to click on things and read the wiki and blah, blah, blah. There's more and more and more you're going to have to do. So, again, here's their wiki now. This is where they said to go next. Here we actually get information. But a lot of this is not going to suit you. But if you go through here on the right, you can actually click on the things that you might need to find, including like how to get scripts and such. How to generate your mapping and figure out how the automation is working, if it is working, if it's not, all that different stuff. We're going to keep going. So here is the NIST's GitHub, in case you just wanted to go ahead and have access to this. They have a lot of different stuff in here. Now that you know that they even exist and do this type of stuff, you might want to come here more often. Okay. And now we want to go a step further. The full disclosure. Okay, this is the official disclosure to the SEC lists by Apple. This is the full disclosure page. Available for macOS Phenomenon. A malicious app may be able to observe user data and log entries related to accessibility notifications. Yes, people can read data related to your notifications. A privacy issue was addressed with improved private data redaction for log entries. So the way their notifications work on Mac is it reads a log entry produced by a public log entry produced by the app. Well, what was happening before that was because that log is actually in the same level in the database as the database, they could just go from there to the database, and because the key is right there in the middle, they get the key on the way there and have access. An app may be able to evaluate privileges. Basically, a logic issue was addressed with improved checks. And we see this is so we can see down here who gave the, who made it available, like how was this found or whatever is down here. So we want to go to all these different ones. An app from a standard user account may be able to escalate privileges after admin user login. A logic issue was addressed. So basically, after an admin user logged in, that data was being stored in some form of file that could be used continuously. And we can see this was official SEC found. This was found by someone who works officially for the SEC. Processing maliciously crafted web content may prevent content security policy from being enforced. So just processing information from web content can bypass security policies completely. This was found by Joxacar. A maliciously crafted web page may be able to fingerprint the user. An injection issue was addressed. So basically, they can bypass the security policy and inject information to find out a actual fingerprint of the user, even if the user doesn't give it up, by an anonymous researcher. Processing maliciously crafted web content may prevent content security policy from being enforced. We can bypass it, we can inject, and then we can keep it from being enforced while we create a fingerprint of the user to then while we search their database. And I do want to point out, this is most recent version where these things are basically issues. With improved state management does not mean fixed. It just means the issue is more difficult to do. All of these, none of them actually say fixed. Point that out. That might be just how they never word it. But normally when we see, like, you're not fixing stuff, you're just changing something, but it's still a possible thing. So here, from iBoySoft, I just want to point out the iCloud issue is a common SQL3 issue, a common API desync with async systems. Yes, iCloud, a SQL-like database secured asynchronous security open text API. I just basically explained it to you as quickly as possible. It says scroll to fix. Let's see, working, synchrony, okay. Okay. Fix 8, fix 7, fix... Oh, that's right. There isn't a way to actually fix it. iCloud not working? Here's how to fix it. Here's the first way to fix it. just sign into your Apple thing again. Okay. Make sure you have the right information. Alright. Customize your iCloud settings. So iCloud won't sync certain files, but you can change that. Okay. Use search box. As you go through this, you'll see very quickly that the major fix for everything is going to be simply one simple thing. In case you want this. Have you tried turning it off and back on? That is basically the fix. I'm noticing a lot of times they're like, how do you fix this problem? How do you fix that problem? Either it's just been moved, like, or it's simply just log out and restart. Let me go back. That's all they're saying to do. That's it. So again, fix, remove download missing in iCloud on Sonoma. On the Mac Finder sidebar, you can access the iCloud drive and download desired items locally to your Mac. On Mac OS Ventura and earlier, you could remove the downloaded iCloud drive files on your Mac via the icon with 3 dots. It's an ellipse inside of a circle and choose to remove. Download, or the downloads from the menu, and then select the item and then delete it from local. But this display error does not happen. So however, some Mac users find the remove download option missing. And it's because of an optimized Mac storage is turned off. Although the removal download option is available on Mac Ventura and earlier, this optimized Mac storage did not, being disabled did not change anything else. So because they now made it more difficult to find something, because now you have to turn this on in order to download. And if you think about it, that makes sense. Not optimize wouldn't be the right, but manage would be the better word. So without the optimized Mac storage features, all iCloud drives should be stored locally when it is turned on. You and your Mac evict download iCloud drives to free up space. So basically, the big fix is just learning how to use the current operating system. I want to point out the fix is simply turning on a feature that didn't matter for this option in the past. The fix is simply learning the new user interface. A large portion of Mac user complaints to this day is simply user interface changes, which is why I am confused of how Macs are considered secure and iCloud is considered secure, because iCloud and Telegram are the same. They are both encrypt servers on their end and both encrypt during transit. Yes, I'm doing air quotes. Because SQLite databases shouldn't be considered encrypted if the key is in plain text and on the same level and database as the database. Don't worry, Telegram Desktop Decrypt has been abandoned. Now, you're probably wondering, like, what's this? A decrypt Telegram? And I believe for their first encryption type, this was for their first encryption type, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not too positive, so you can still try to use it on your T-data today. But that's right, we are actually getting into the tools of the experiment. Earlier, I gave you the SQL database browser, the open source one, and so you're going to be using that Cypher thing. And, well, this is another tool that you could use. And if we look in, it's just basically going to do a few things, including getting our JSON files. So it's kind of confusing because people are confused why this exists, and we want to get into it. Let me go to the next thing. So here's the GitHub for that decryptor that we were just looking at. Here's the link. And we can see that where they're putting stuff. We can see it's just very simple. It's going to give us the raw cache, the cache, and the JSON file. So we still have to actually decrypt everything with the JSON file information. So we're still going to use the database browser to find what we're looking for. So now we go here. Here's the code for opening T-data. So if you want to make like this paperwork, right? Yeah, this is, in here has, okay, yeah. Here's the code for getting this T-data decryptor to work. So if you really want to get this decryptor to work, you can come in here and change the way the blobs are set up, the way this is set up, to actually make it work. So it is fixable. So if you're wondering what the fix is, simply fix it. Now, what is it for? What you do with your T-data file? Applications, really. People want to make applications that work with Telegram. Kind of how like one-touch logins have to interact with data structures and data types from Google or Microsoft or whatever system integrator you're using for the API. So does this one. So doing the same thing with Telegram. So people want to create applications that allow people to sign in via Telegram, as well as like exchange information from Telegram for auto profiling an account. So at creation, this drops your Telegram information into there, and it creates your account look just like your Telegram account. So instantly ready. But this is what open source is supposed to allow for. But this is also another reason why you need to remove keys from your system, so you can more plug-and-play check device authentication key systems are kind of needed. Stuff like YubiKey, but without actually specifically only being YubiKey. So here's the decryptor Python, the Python part, because this also would have to be updated as well. If you want to get this working. But again, there's more than one ways to skin a cat. So here's another sketchy as fuck application that you can try to basically parse and get affirmation from your T-data files. So this will allow you to do is it will allow you to basically parse the data, the storage in your data. Parse the data in your to a storage that allows you to actually view things. It breaks apart the files to make it easier to find what you're looking for. Let's say it that way. Okay? And here they recommend using John. Open wall specific John. It's oddly recommended to use this password breaker to get access to T-data files, because to be honest, the key is for sure in your desktop folder. There's no reason to use this unless you didn't have access to the same level folder as the database. You have this access. So this means that even if you separate it to hardline checks, the password system is so crap or not used at all in Telegram by most users. So you can just use preset data blobs or use this fast-to-use password breaker to just break their password. This means that the same password breaker should be able to be used on any SQLite database that's key protected, just so that you're using SQLite Cipher and use John to get entry. It's pretty simple. Just SQLite Cipher, the free one, and use John to get entry. So what is the equivalent folder for Android for the T-data folder in the Telegram desktop? This, I just want to point out, most desktop applications on Mac and Windows are just poorly ported Android applications, because most Androids automatically lock their main drives and ring one level type of permissions by default. This is both a fault of closed source technology and the blessings of Android. So this is point to any changes of our perspective. There's a chance your phone is more secure than your desktop, depending on what application you are actually using on both devices. Ouch. And as the title says, I'm looking for the equivalent for T-data on Android. And if we go here, unfortunately, Android apps store their T-data files in a location that cannot be blah, blah, blah. And this person says, okay, well, what if I have root access? Which there are Android versions that would give you that. Then by all means, it's on data. Just search Telegram, although at this point, using a backup app like Swift Backup or Titanium would be more likely recommended, as copying and pasting files are problematic due to the file permissions. But not on desktop. It ain't like that on desktop. That's, again, the issue. You don't have to believe me. There are multiple different places and companies and things telling you exactly how to do this. To be able to authorize in Telegram the via T-Data folder, you need to run Telegram Portable, the official Telegram from the official Telegram website, or use the stable build at Telegram Portable. Because remember earlier I said it's possible that the person was using Telegram Portable on Mac OS X or Mac OS, and that was why we were able to see what we could see. And here, before you start, they're going to be in the T-Data modules. It's telling you everything that's there. The video will show you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it through the video. But this point down here at the very bottom, I think is very important. The 2FA two-factor authentication code for T-Data formats can be found in the text documentation in the folder. In this case, it's a session plus JSON account folder. And it can be found in the JSON file named 2FA. And if we look back a second ago or two, we, at the parser, I think it was, gave us access to JSON and session files. It would take a file that isn't a session file and turn it into a session plus JSON. So we have a way to get those JSON files with the session without having to search through everything the old-fashioned way. Or we could just use this easier to use one. Yeah! Let's use an easier one. Let's just make it easy, right? So here we go. T-Data accounts to session or session plus JSON converter. This session plus JSON basically gives us access to the entire file. Yeah, this is not supposed to be this easy, but it is. Should not be this easy, but it is. So here's how to access all of your T-Data. Note, this is using a, again, I think they're still using a portable version, but it's supposed to be working for Russian and Chinese. As you see, I don't see anything saying it actually works on English, and I personally am not downloading this and using it just to see, you know, I don't have a test Telegram to work with. And you see they even have a trial period that ends after 30 days or 1,000 accounts used. So, I mean, even this, you can only use it sometimes. So this is definitely designed for malicious attacks. This is going to be used with those malicious drainers. People are going to take, they're gonna use something to take your T-Data and break it out so they can get something from a session data, and it's going to give them the JSON file with it, so they just have the access to it directly. And now they have everything in your Telegram that they need, including your keys to your Telegram. And I say that because a lot of Telegram is a wallet too nowadays. So you think that would be all. But if we go through here, the official Telegram desktop version, see make list. This is the system. This is like, if you remember, I pointed out the internal structure of that T-Data file, and well, here we can see the actual subdirectories that are made during the make part of the installation. And I didn't want to show this earlier because it's kind of like the Telegram official GitHub, and I wanted to make sure you had to wait to get here because there's a lot of information sitting right here in this GitHub that would have just kind of given away earlier. But if we look through here, yeah, we were looking at the official desktop hierarchy. They really were using the actual, so the full Telegram desktop version. That's a bit scary. Because really anything you want to know about how to RCE Telegram, it's all right here in this GitHub, which is really scary. So let's pull off the medical adhesive strips. How do we read T-Data? So how to read data from the Telegram database. We see here group containers, blah, blah, blah. That's Mac setup. That's going to be in their database SQLite and WSQLite wallet files. So it seems like post-bucket WSQLite. is encrypted. Use this GitHub gist contains code and some instructions on how to read the database for your local databasing. Okay, cool. Let's go there. Okay. Already looking mighty odd as errors occur, but this should still be active. See if I can get this to reload. Gosh, I should have took a screenshot. It was working last time I was here. But here it is, the actual, what we can't see is right here. So here is the information to what you can't see. If you come here and you can actually see it, you can download the zip. It really extracts messages from your database SQLite postbox. Again, only works for Telegram on iOS. And well, this one says only this is made for Mac OS, but it should work for iOS too. And if we look down here, there's even some updates on how to fix some of the problems that's in it to actually make it better. And we see right here it uses your default password, which most people don't have one, which means most times it's just not encrypted at all. And this entire thing basically gives you access to all the information you're going to need to know how to read it on your Mac. For Telegram. Again, here's the Telegram data. So, at this point, I have to ask now, how does Signal store desktop messages? You know what? I want to go back one more page. Before I go back any further, I'll go back to one more page. So, can someone please comment code to check USBs and NFCs for the JSON file and use encrypted handshakes so we can get modern desktop applications to at least use security as well as Ethereum on the blockchain? Because yes, most applications on your desktop right now are less secure than the Ethereum blockchain. Can someone please go in here into the official Telegram desktop thing here again, and can someone please go in here and put in the code to have removable keys with USB and NFC checks for the JSON file using encrypted handshakes, so we can at least get these dang simple programs up to code. Build a generic one that we can input into these, just randomly integrate them like they did with SQLite 3. Alright, sorry, I didn't want to miss that because it was just starting to itch my brain. Go back to Signal. Okay, back to Signal. Let's see how Signal is doing. And again, this is a secure messaging application. Can it beat the standard for modern desktop applications? Oh no. I guess it can't. Okay, now I get why my friend 3G always would ask multiple different times about the security of the desktop Signal. It is not secure at all. It's exactly the same thing, and to be honest, Signal went as far as to include a method to sort through your messages and chat storage inside of its database. So it's 100% completely understood that it is open text, which isn't plain text, and is considered secure compared to Telegram, according to Brockwell. Signal, according to Brockwell, it's more secure than Telegram. You know, Signal and almost every document you can find online all say that Signal is more secure than Telegram. So let's look at the information online and see that it says exact opposite. And for some of this, it's kind of easy to find too. That's the sad part is some of this is easy to find. How easy? Let's just give you a pre-search search to see it. Is Signal encrypted locally? One of the very first things. Messages are stored in plain text and not encrypted locally. Oh. That's not going so well. Oh, this is a different one, and it's on GitHub. Like another new issue. There's that one from earlier that we were looking at. Yeah. Because FTE store portable Chrome, non-encrypted for partition. It's a non-solution. You're avoiding the very issue. Signal leaving plain text messages are not in an accessible location. You're avoiding the fact that it may not even be possible to use FTE or portable Chrome due to software, hardware restrictions and policies. That should not be a requirement to fully encrypt my hard drive in order to use Signal securely. Signal should be at very least only be screen encrypted messages and only decrypting them in memory when Signal app is open and linked device is reachable using the key from the linked device. If WhatsApp is capable of this, then Signal that definitely should be. And I'm not sure to trust Signal anymore. And a lot of people agree. This was still closed and considered a feature, not a bug. In January 2018. This has been a problem for like 6 years on Signal. This has always been like this on Signal Desktop. It has always on Signal Desktop been open text secure on your device. Always. Always. How to read Signal database locally. Okay. Here we go. Turbo Cache 3000. Extracting messages from Signal Desktop. Sometimes I want to export a chat to archive it or share it with someone who has lots of parts of the information conversation, but lost important conversations due to key exchange. The Signal doesn't offer any official way to CSV or even PDF and export. So, okay, they figured it out for us. Okay. So I'm not going to go through the entire method, but this does show it. Green is why this method was, purple is the end. Alright, so start making a copy of the Signal database. Signal uses SQLite. It's all nearly stored in a single file depending on your OS. You can encrypt the messages using SQL Cipher and extract it. So exactly, okay. So nothing new. It's exactly the same thing. The guide to extracting statistics from Signal conversations. I mean, sure, why stop at messages? Let's get stats on them too, right? Again, I'm not going to show you how to do all this, but there's even instructions on the Signal website on how to make a backup. You just download a binary, use that binary to unpack it. It's a generic binary. Using a CSV. Oh, this is really easy to do. Oh, it's even easier on desktop. Oh, just run a script. Oh, it's all done. Oh. Yeah, briefly, we're just going to take a copy of it and open it with the key provided in the database. That's all it says. Alright. Obviously, Signalback was mentioned. The Signal Android app introduced encrypted backups. While these are not undoubtedly a security benefit over unencrypted backups, they do present an issue about being read in other systems by the owner. So it is intended to use the same decryption process as the Signal app uses when importing its backups. So this is specifically for opening up the backups. Specifically. Okay. Cool. Here's the releases for Signalback. And, yeah. Don't worry, there's a tool for almost everything. Hence why NIST and the DoD have the USA is hyper-focused on automating baseline security on Mac OS, since they almost specifically use Mac OS for secure systems and functions machines. Okay. Oh, look at that. Just query the Signal desktop messages locally from SQLite using JavaScript. Oh, how to do it in JavaScript. Even easier. This means that any web application or webhook can actually do this. Oh, that means any webhook can just automatically grab a copy and open my files immediately without my permission. That's scary. Yep, that's pretty scary. I'm a JavaScript guy, and when I saw that this was here, I did freak out. And it is the exact same thing, just with JavaScript. It's an easy way to integrate, again, this into opening up into any webhook or API system. Super fast, too. And I just want to point out that Signal app, you'll happy to know that Signal team was so unhappy with SQLite 3, the one that we gave you guys over here, way back here, this one. They were so unhappy with this one that they made a better one. They went ahead and made a better version. So yes, you can too unlock your Signal conversations on desktop with the exact same power as the Signal group, as long as you can get it installed and actually work, which is the harder part to do. It's actually difficult to install this and get this to work. Thank you, Brosiv. This episode is insane. I can't believe it's still going on, but we're getting closer to the home run stretch where I actually show you how to do this on my computer. So don't worry. There's been someone other than Signal who has jumped the gun to figure out how to encrypt Signal on desktop. So if you want a better, if you actually want to secure your Signal on desktop, here you go. You can use someone else's app because Signal won't come up with it at all. And it will pop up, you're no longer safe on desktop if you encrypt your database, apparently. Just want to point that out. All right. So, what is this? This is the thing. This is how it's going to be done. You're just going to simply get SQL3 or better SQL. You're going to open up the application's JSON file. You're going to add an 0x. If it says that's a key, you're going to copy that. You're going to open up the application databases, and then you're just going to see if it opens. You're done. It's technically 3 steps. Get the data, get the thing, open the file, copy, open the database. Last step is just you looking at it. It's the whole setup. It's simple. That's the scary part. Alright. I gotta be extremely blunt here. I had to build this little map because I'm not even too sure if this is understandable why we took all these steps to get to where we're at right now. So let's try to explain this a little bit before we actually start testing the stuff. In 2016 to 2018, Sushi had some findings. His findings noticed a terrible trend early on that ends up showcasing the issue of macOS and iCloud handling, and then built an attack that is still used to this day. Okay? In 2023, iCloud got USA DoD involvement and then had 3 times more breaches in the past for the past 10 years before it of all breaches that ever existed, utilizing the same attack method discovered in 2016 by Sushi. Telegram, an open-sourced open text, and becomes the same exact attack surface as Discord and Cloud. Also in 2023, using the exact same attack method as Sushi discovered. In 2024, we have Signal, which again relies on Android and iOS security as the model, meaning these apps, both iCloud, Telegram, and Signal, are stored in SQLite database and may be open text via plain text keys, or simply uses a user password as a key. And as we found out a few seconds ago, Signal has been like this since before Telegram in 2018. Which is creepy, because in 2016 we saw someone do that attack, but it only worked because it was on Mac. But it's actually been possible to do that attack on any desktop Telegram since 2018, when Telegram Desktop was technically released. So all of these are following modern desktop application standards for secure applications. I want to point that again. All three applications you see posted here, iCloud, Telegram, and Signal, are all following the modern desktop application standards for secure applications, and some of which is coming from some of the highest regarded secure blah 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 representative companies in America for the Department of Defense. Or they work with the Department of Defense or work with the US government, different things like that. Okay. At this moment in time, not only am I absolutely shocked what is passing as encrypted and secure, but this is happening on systems that used to be unhackable. It used to be one of the unhackable operating systems on a machine that was once unstoppable and user customizable to the extreme. I don't think any of these messaging applications or cloud services of almost any kind is even worth using in the manner intended. It's almost like you need to customize your setup to suit your need or something. Wink, wink, hint, hint at what I'm really getting at. Customize. Now, when we see articles about all three hacks and breaches, just remember that standard in security for desktop machines is keeping plain text keys on the same permission level in the same database that people are being accessed to. And accessed through the application, so to speak. To pinpoint some details for the attack vector, the attack vector is SQLite databases. The attack surface is every operating system that's not encrypted entirely. So the entire disk is not encrypted and not encrypted up front. The attack is utilizing API security bypass to drop silent payloads until specific attacks or events trigger the scripts inside the payload in storage to sniff and send back data to a different endpoint. Data being searched for is TData _WAL, which means wallet data. DB _ data, which is just database. One second. Sorry about that. So again, the attack is being done for database _, which is all databases that are going to be SQLite. It's also looking for anything that says session on it. That also means that your session might, like the application session might be in jeopardy nowadays. It's looking for all .json files, including ones that might not be pertaining to any of these, and including the .wallet files, .wal files, and .pw files, which also include bookmarks, history, cache files. Yes, that does include going to the site we went earlier, just visiting it and not clearing your cookies, history, and such. Gives you the opportunity to have a .pw file on your computer that will be searched for, that might even include the payload that is going to find your TData file, your wallet files, and everything like that, because it doesn't just find the files, it also records where they were at. So it knows not just what database it has, where that database came from, which file is the decryptor key, but also for more things than it probably originally wanted. Note the data being searched for are various wallet, account, API keys, and password files. These allows for utilization later or draining accounts instantly with automation, like some of the automation that the USA DoD has records to automate against. Many people have already stopped recommending Telegram, and a few have started to stop recommending Signal. And now I'm recommending again to stop using Discord and iCloud as well as any Python-based cloud service provider. So yes, Telegram, iCloud, Signal, as well as any desktop application should not be recommended to anyone anymore. I do not recommend Telegram, iCloud, Signal, or any desktop application anymore. Sorry, can't. To play devil's advocate, because I have shown how to secure your Mac OS for these types, I you know, do want you to follow this advanced security measures in the Department of Defense and to help your Mac. I do want you to take the steps to make your stuff better. I didn't want to just say, hey, look, you're fucked, you're screwed. I wanted to help you out, and I did find the means to do it. It's going to take some time for you to get there. So, again, showing the attack method. Oh, wait, hold on. Showing the attack method. Telegram in this example is the exact same as seen, but anyone in a public chat has the potential to send you a silent payload through any DM or any message that could bypass your security and just allow, like, you have that payload sitting there, and then a DDoS or notification from a specific network, whether it's a ping or group application, also anything, nearly from any form of way to awaken the payload without notice, to take over without notice. Signal in this example that we're looking at here is even worse because there is no application server like we see in the top. It's just an application delivery service. So silent payloads are dropped directly into storage, and depending on the type of payload, like a video, for example, it could be activated just simply for being checked for CSAM. Or other reasons, even for simply just being a GIF, will allow it to automatically drop on payload or initiate on payload drop. So you could not even see the notification that hacks you because everything is stored locally on your device. I mean, I'm saying, like, once it's there, you could get a notification or something, and then boom, you didn't even get a chance to look and see what the notification was, and you're gone. Everything is gone. I mean, at least with Telegram, they still rely on your device needing to pull it from the cloud. iCloud doesn't really do that either. iCloud is more automated, but something you can actually choose to do manually. You can actually turn that stuff off on Telegram versus Signal. You can't. So that also is, not just, you don't want to be in a streaming event either on Telegram, because another way to get you. All these applications mentioned today have some form of group chats, instant messaging, DMs, end-to-end encryption, and non-end-to-end encryption chats. Content delivery service through APIs that do bypass your operating system security audits, and they all use SQL-like databases with keys being in plain text or on this exact same level of permissions, or simply uses an easy-to-break password like the user's password or PIN. If the official documents in Macintosh's Apple and the NIST and the USA DoD has released, iCloud-based systems should be avoided on desktops or non-encrypted drives. The company owners and runners don't say storing databases in SQLite at the same permission level as the key is a bad thing. And if anything, it's designed to be like this since it's the standard in modern applications. I keep saying standard in modern applications because more and more applications on desktops just work like this. Not that it's an official NIST standard, but it seems to be like it is. For verifying some of the Telegram information sources, and even on checking if the original locally viewability of one's own Telegram database, as it was done by Nathaniel, was verified, was done with the help of Motor Club. Basically, I had to do a lot of questions and stuff, and I had to get people to actually do stuff. And the Motor Club, it's a BiHut network, and it's a Telegram network. They helped me out verify a lot of information. They were actually able to verify that the original method that Nathaniel used should not be usable to this day, unless you're on Mac OS. And then it might be possible. So I want to go ahead and give you information to the Motor Club, which again, it's a BiHut network, because, like I said, they did help me out here. They are some bright minds with Telegram, so if you want to know how Telegram is bad or whatever, or you want to make it better, these people might actually be able to help you out. You can also access them through Twitter, which we're pointing out now. And Danish Crypto was a specific person who actually helped me from Motor Club, in case you're wondering. So, I know, everyone's saying right now, words, but no one has said the words we all want to see. Okay, I'm about to do it. I'm just gonna. Okay, so hold on a second. I'm moving stuff around. Just move the damn thing down. Stop trying to change the size of it. Okay. Again, why does... Okay, I'm trying to move a thing down, and it keeps trying to change the size instead of just moving it down. Alright, that's there. I need that up there, and this program here. Alrighty then, so... Alright, so on the main view screen, I have database browser. This should be the Cypher one. I have my Telegram data, and I have my Signal data. Now, I actually had to download Signal on my computer just to do this, so you know. Here is config.json. If I open this file, which I have it opened on the side, my key is in there. So I'm going to copy my key right now on the other screen. And I'm in Signal going to open up SQL, database SQL, and just try to drop it in here. I have a raw key. I'm just going to hit paste. Okay. And it says I have the wrong scheme. Try 3. Okay, I might have to... No, Rocky should do it. Whoa. How did I get that twice? In case you're not noticing, Rocky... Something seems to be working here. So let's see if we can open up the other one. Oh. That was database SQL light wall. And cancel. I need to close database. So we really can just open up these databases. Now, I'm not too sure why it's actually timing. To be honest, when I tried this on my own, I actually did open up my this one right here. Your Signal database is fully openable on your computer. If you're using a Windows or Mac, you just have to put OX in front of your key. And your key's stored. No, don't save that. It's directly stored right here. Config.json. And just to show you that JSON files are stored in that manner, I'm going to open this one with Notepad++. And here's what a JSON file looks like. It's just plain text. Again, configure.json will actually open up my file, and I might have session running right now, or I might have Signal running right now. That might be why I can't open the Signal database. But Signal does actually, all your stuff is right here, and it's in plain text. It's open text. So here I am in my Telegram. Okay, we're going to make this a little bit bigger because Telegram has more information. I am running Telegram. So you can see that I have a working file right now. This is a database. I can't get into it, even if I wanted to. This is one that you have to convert into a session.json. All of these, user tag, all the ones that are set up like this, you have to convert out of this state into a different state that we were using the converter for. If we open up, again, all these JSONs will open up plain text. You're going to see a full list of commands, blah, 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 blah. So, if we keep going in here, and we keep looking, my password is not stored here anymore. And I didn't do this. This is how Telegram Desktop, if installed on Windows 10 or 11 today, will be installed like this. So no, you can't just open it up like you used to. I'm in my T-Data. Here's that log file that they use for notifications that I was talking about. And that does give you a lot of information there. We do have the full modules. So we can even open up the DLL file that's used to decompile everything. And our T-Data, it is all of our data. For example, we can see my main configuration file, my data map file, and some of my conversations. Those are going to be like ones I store all the time. There are random files and sometimes in these. You see there's a quit temporary file, and then user data, cache and media cache, version 0, which is your main memory. Then you have sub-memory, so your memory array, your log for this memory array, and then every conversation for each thing stored in its memory. Now, something you can do, and I'm not going to do it because it took me like an hour to figure it out, and it would probably take me another hour to figure it out again. There is a way to get into your T-Data file without converting it, as long as you know your passcode, which means John will break it open pretty quickly to get you in. And you don't even have to use the cipher to get it. You just use the regular one. And what it will allow you to do is search through your text and stuff. It will actually allow you to search through your browser, your data. I want to see if I can go back into Signal. Because, yeah, even my local state is stored here. Yeah. But yeah, here you go. Even though Signal is considered, everyone's saying it actually is the more secure one, it actually does store everything plain text, open plain text on your device. Telegram actually doesn't. Unless you're using a Mac. Then, because that's how Mac is set up, it is. Yeah. I don't have an outline closing statement because, believe it or not, all the things you heard about how, well, Signal is more secure than Telegram, I can't find a single ounce of evidence proving that Signal Telegram is even secure at all. You can now check it on your own. You don't need me to show you that I'm having problems trying to open it. But I'm also having problems running the computer because I have an Opera tab. I have an Opera window with like 50-something tabs in there. I have multiple programs running. I have AIs running to just handle me moving around and stuff going on. So do it on your own. Figure it out. Because this whole thing, like Naomi Brockwell, I'm going to point it out. Naomi Brockwell, you're lying. You keep telling people Signal is secure. But on desktop, it's the least secure thing there exists. And sure, the RCE that is available for Signal, Telegram, iCloud, almost any desktop application you use that has any kind of connectivity online, which is why I constantly say if it can be updated or notifications can be sent to you, can be attacked. And we read how the DoD even protects their systems from notification attacks by not allowing public logs on their Macs. You thought anything was secure, and then you found out today everything is remote executable unless you're actually running Android. Well then, it's only limited executable.